This is a story that happened on my mom's birthday. A little background. My mother and I share birthdays just 2 days apart. I'm November 9th, she's November 11th. 11/11. Now, at 11:11 a.m. on 11/11, November 11th in 1919. Anyway, that was the precise moment that the guns of World War I stopped. A lot of people don't know that. But in Europe, they celebrated 11/11, the end of the Great War, and they would have parades and stuff. And my mother would stand on her balcony and wave like the Queen, saying, thank you for celebrating me for being born on 11/11. But what they were celebrating is this moment, this precise moment when the guns stopped. Anyway, on 11/11, I, of course, am always thinking about my mother. And you see me posting 11/11 photographs. I see them all the time. I see the clocks everywhere. 11/11 fills my life. I only post it once in a while, but it's constantly there. In fact, when I was talking about that, this was 111 was the recording time on my phone. You can't make this up. Anyway, the story I wanted to tell is about the honeybee that visited me on my mother's birthday. See you in part 2. I am actually intending to tell the story of the time the honeybee came to visit me on my mother's birthday, but before that, a little background. Many of you may know that there is an ancient tradition going all the way back to Egypt, at least, of sacred bee worship. And in the Western world, coming through Europe, the traditions I know, it was known as the Melissae, the bee priestess. And these cults go all the way back to antiquity and are found all over the world in many different cultures. There's a lot of symbolism, life and death, and birth. I could go on, but these are the feminine mysteries that are involved in the cult of the bee. So when I learned about this, and I've always been drawn to bees, I understand that many people are afraid of bees, but bees are so beneficial. Whether or not you hold to the sacredness of the bee, I do, and not just the fact that it is sacred and provides a food and medicine, but that it is connected to the divine feminine, that it is specifically an archetype that would resonate with celebration of mother, and on the day that I was thinking about the birth of my own mother. Anyway, that's the spiritual background of why my heart was so opened up by this experience of the time that the bee came to visit me on my mother's birthday, a story which I will now tell in the next part. Ciao. On my mother's birthday this year, I had a special visitor. I was having breakfast on my porch, looking at the hummingbirds, and I noticed a honeybee that seemed to be in distress was climbing on my water bottle. So I offered her a little drop of water. Sometimes they need that, but then I realized sometimes they just need sugar, right, to give energy. So I had an apple that I was eating, so I gave her a piece of apple, and immediately she started sucking on it, knocked it off the water bottle. So I set her up a little station so she could just sit there peacefully and recover her strength. Now, I had encountered honeybees in the past that had gotten so weak they couldn't fly back to the hive. And I had learned to give them a little piece of honey, if you've got it, or just some sugar water or anything sweet, a piece of fruit, to give them the energy to get back home. So this lovely honeybee ate and ate and ate until she was strong enough to fly. Then instead of flying away, she went over to my coffee. I definitely wanted coffee. Bees love my coffee. I make a very sweet variety. She wanted that, so I offered her some. You going? Oh, you want a little coffee before you go? A little coffee. Not from the cup, you'll fall in. Not here, you'll fall in. No, it's over here. I'll put some on the thermos. Here. There. There's a drop of coffee. Here. There you go. Just a drop. I know it must seem strange feeding a honeybee with your fingertip, but these, as I mentioned in my introductory videos, I believe that these are sacred creatures, and I believe that they are conscious. And this lady bee, She just flew around and around and around. After I fed her, she landed on my hair. She kept landing on me. In fact, she wanted a selfie. She landed on the camera and kind of photobombed the camera and took a selfie. She just wouldn't leave. She spent at least half an hour just blessing all of my things, landing on me again and again, until finally she had enough strength. She kept going back to the apple to get strong enough. And finally, after about half an hour of spending time with me, she kissed my bonsai goodbye and finally flew away. It was a lovely encounter. I considered it a sacred messenger.
You like it here, huh?
I just felt really blessed by the divine feminine on my mother's birthday with this sacred encounter.
Bye.
It's just possible the universe might be speaking to you in the quietest of ways. Be well, my friends.